welcome. Another episode of Apples to Oranges. So, very special episode today. We have guest stars Abraham Lincoln and Lex Luthor here today. So I want to welcome. It's an honor having you two.
It's the historical figures episode.
Yeah.
It's good to be here.
So, I, like last time, I am not going to explain what the fuck we're doing. If you would like to know what we're actually doing, or the specifics of it, the first episode will be down there somewhere in the description. So, go watch that and give me money. Basically, I'm going to roll the dice here.
We're going to figure out what movies we're going to watch.
Oh boy.
Hopefully something that's either Superman or Abraham Lincoln related. I don't know if
Be
you guys
great.
have any of those movies.
I don't think I have Lincoln.
It would keep with the theme.
It would. I do have
There's
all.
quite a few Lincoln movies nowadays. So.
Yeah, that's true. There's 397. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, a couple movies since.
For those keeping track at home.
Yeah.
397.
Keep track of the number of films we both.
I mean, I could probably add a couple you guys don't have if you want to put those on the list, but that's neither here nor there.
All right.
Or whatever.
You ready?
Yeah.
Movie number 1. 276.
All right. Nice. Getting there.
Nice.
Well, I mean, that's getting.
Kick ass.
This is the first one on this page we've done. 270 what?
6.
276. Ooh, nice. That's a. It's a Star Trek movie. Star Trek Insurrection.
Fuck.
It's gonna be a good day,
I
folks.
fucking hate Star Trek Insurrection.
Alright.
Shit.
That's
That was real bad, everybody.
That's gonna be.
I hate. Yeah, it might be my least favorite Star Trek movie.
Oh, nice.
Well, I might like Star Trek 1 less. Star Trek.
This is your least favorite Picard one, I presume.
Oh yeah, definitely. This is definitely the worst next gen one. Oh god. Okay.
All right.
Movie number 2. We're off to a great
Okay.
start.
So cross that.
Okay. 131.
131.
Movie number
Let's go
2.
here.
131.
And 131 is this is gonna be interesting today. Freddy versus Jason.
Nice.
Freddy versus Jason. So there we go.
Yes.
I love it.
Sorry.
This is insane. This is like
Star Trek Insurrection.
pure KJ reaction. I've not seen this before.
Oh man.
I actually.
I kind of like
really-
this movie.
I enjoy
Yeah.
it.
Oh, what the fuck am I
This
doing?
is nice and random. So.
What am I doing with my life?
All right, next one. Let's keep on.
119.
119, same page. Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh fuck me.
Oh Jesus.
All right.
This is a good movie, but so long.
So, me being the audience surrogate here, your guest's audience surrogate.
Right.
Here, having not seen too many movies, I've seen 2 of these out of the 3. I don't think I've seen Freddy vs. Jason, but I've seen the other 2.
So, the lineup, everybody. The Star Trek Insurrection,
Yes.
Freddy vs. Jason, and Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring.
We got sci-fi, fantasy, and horror.
Hey, we got it all.
We got it all.
All right here.
Right here. Right now. Alright, so, it's like 6 hours later or something.
Yeah,
and,
about 6.5.
Dawn of the second day.
Yeah, so we just finished watching the movies.
Yeah.
Here they are. The first movie is a Star Trek Insurrection.
Yeah, Insurrection.
Shawn, would you like to give us a brief synopsis of Star Trek Insurrection?
So, I'm actually kind of a big Star Trek fan. So I had actually seen this before, and I knew what was coming going into this. I think we all did to some extent, but this movie, it's actually, not only is it painful to watch this movie, it's painful to describe how painful this movie is. And it was interesting because you said, you discussed it with him about how you said you didn't find it too terrible.
Well, it was alright.
Yeah.
I found it mildly entertaining. It wasn't good.
But you didn't have any context.
Not really. No.
Like, me and Kate.
Right.
We
yeah.
discussed a lot of things. Like, it did piss me off with the whole thing. Like, I was in the same boat and that I was actually on the other guy's side, for instance. So the movie didn't work.
Yeah, you were on the side of the bad guys.
Yeah, so the movie didn't work for me, but I didn't think it was... I didn't hate it, you know what I mean?
The movie is basically... It's sort of what I like to call it's Dances with Wolves style kind of movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot. This plot has been done a lot of times. Pocahontas, Atlantis: The Lost Empire, Avatar. It's sort of the kind of colonial imperialist people meet some kind of
Native American, or native of the land.
Right, yeah, they live off the land, they're simple folk, and somebody's trying to exploit them, and then some kind of member of the exploitative party kind of goes native and joins up with the native
And I like they're not even
people.
being exploited.
Not really. I mean, they are, I guess, to an extent.
I mean, they're being
little
moved from
bit.
their land without
Right.
their knowledge, so they're kind of being tricked into it.
I think that,
But-
yeah, like, basically what's happening is there's a planet where anyone who lives on this planet is immortal,
Yeah.
I guess. And not just immortal.
Or they kind of rewind the clock. So
You're like at the peak of physical condition when you live on this planet.
You can also apparently recover from illnesses that you were born with, which doesn't make any sense.
Right. I think
Geordie with a...
Yeah, because like Geordie's on it and he recovers his eyesight. Or
That
I
didn't
guess
make
not
any sense to me.
not really recover because he never had to begin with. But I guess it's
Like,
just
what
sort of-
about Picard's baldness? That didn't get fixed.
It was weird.
It's been 300 years since I've seen a bald man.
I don't think there's ever a point where Picard had hair. I think
I
I
have
think
seen a picture with Picard with hair.
it's weird.
Yeah.
Picard with hair?
Picard
Oh.
with hair. Yeah.
Not John Stewart or anything.
John Stewart.
John Stewart. The race car driver. Patrick Stewart.
Is a race car driver?
Who's John Stewart?
John Stewart's the Daily Show
I don't
guy.
even fucking know.
And he's also the Blank Green Lantern as John Stewart as well.
Oh, man.
I
So
bet
you
there
could-
is a John Stewart race
Yeah,
car driver
yeah,
somewhere.
it's a very common name. So, anyways, so basically there is a race of weird, wrinkly people. Led by F. Murray Abram, and these weird, they're kind of like, they look like mummies or something that without the wraps on them. So
No rap.
So these mummy people, they team up with the Federation to kind of use holodeck shenanigans to clandestinely move these people off the planet.
Without interfering with them, so
Right.
that they're kind of keeping with the Prime Directive.
And they have a device where they can harness kind of the power of this planet, but will basically destroy the planet in the process. So what they want to do is they want to clandestinely move these people off the planet, harvest kind of the power of it, and use it to like enrich billions of people's lives. And
Apparently they were going to be able to like rejuvenate the resource, because it was weird to me they were going to destroy a planet that seemed to be like you could just send people to the planet, but apparently they could like generate more of it. So there was no lose to the situation.
They were gonna use it to say make medicine, elongate people's lives, do stuff like say be able to just give Geordie new eyes, like legit kind of eyes and stuff like that. And
enrich the lives of like billions of people.
So when when you kind of said that we were kind of on the side of the bad guys, like basically, this movie comes down to, and they establish it's 600 people. It's either move 600 people off of a planet.
It's not like they're even killing them or anything. It's just like...
All they have to do is leave. They just don't live on that planet anymore.
So they can help billions of people.
Of dying children, and they can fix birth defects, and they can give people like Jordy eyesight.
But no, this is our planet.
Longer.
So they are actually like selfish assholes.
And they are just so...
this is...
They are... Everything they say is just so like... We're so enlightened. Yeah. Like, you know, they're all really attractive. They're like... They don't use technology, because
apparently they were a technological race, and then they
like they know everything about technology and shit. There's this guy at the beginning, when they first meet them, that just says like 600 pompous things in a row.
This village is a sanctuary of life. We believe that when you create a machine to do the work of a man, you take something away from the man. Would you like something to eat? No.
Like they're like these weird...
Oh, yeah, the main guy.
They're like these weird, like, space hippie supermodel type people.
Yeah.
And they're just, like, they're so pompous and, like, perfect that I find them, like, extremely irritating and thus completely unsympathetic.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like...
And then your group of favorite space-faring people come and team up with them, and that... puts you on edge.
Right, because, you know, I mean, so, you know, obviously, we're big next-gen people. Mm-hmm. And so, like, you kind of, over the course of watching this, you kind of really grow to really like these characters. So it's kind of infuriating to see them kind of... to kind of be on a side where I find them completely unsympathetic.
And not even this, like, there were actually episodes of The Next Generation where it was almost the exact same scenario, where they were helping out, like, a native tribe of people.
Yeah.
They brought up the Cardassian episode where they were trying to... And Picard, in the end, forcefully relocates the people.
Yeah, there was like I said, there was an episode with the actual Native American reservation planet.
Yeah.
And... if you recall, Wesley Crusher did the same thing Picard does.
Yes, exactly.
And Picard reams his ass out and is like, you're an idiot.
Inexcusable. You defied the orders of the ranking officer on the scene. You put the lives of the entire away team in jeopardy, and you made an already tense situation worse. Your actions reflect very badly on this ship and on that uniform. Now, I want an explanation, Mr. Crusher. And I want it now.
What you're doing down there is wrong. These people are not some random group of colonists. They're a unique culture with a history that predates the Federation and Starfleet.
That does not alter the fact that my orders are
I know Admiral Nechayev gave you an order, and she was given an order from the Federation Council. But it's still wrong.
That decision is not yours to make, Cadet. I don't know what has got into you lately. And frankly, right now, I don't care. But I will tell you this. While you wear that uniform, you will obey every order you are given. And you will conform to Starfleet regulations and rules of conduct. Is that clear?
Because he's like, you know, this is for the greater good. And, like, if this was a next-gen episode, this would be kind of a moral quandary that Picard would think about, and he would lay out the options, and he would go... you know, which one gives us the greater good? Because I think a lot of the better next-gen episodes were like that. They were moral dilemmas. But in this one, Picard just goes, no, that's wrong. And then action sequences and him and Worf shooting...
Pooper purple bazookas.
Pooper purple.
Poopa.
Poopa purple.
Poopa bazookas.
Poopa bazookas. You know, shooting bazookas. Then they're all shooting drones. And I'm like, this is... It just doesn't feel like Star Trek. It just does not feel intelligent in that way that a lot of next-gen episodes were. It kind of takes what should be an interesting moral dilemma and simplifies it to the point where it's kind of frustrating. Particularly when you have these characters and this franchise that has such a rich history of tackling stuff like this really well. Yeah. I am interested, so... Obviously, you don't really have any next-gen background. Obviously, you're familiar with the characters. But what were your kind of thoughts on the movie?
Again, the same basic shit you just covered. Like, I just thought it was alright. I don't really have much to point out about it other than me, in fact, being like on the side of the quote unquote bad guys or whatever.
Yeah.
Which makes the movie, in effect, like it just kind of fucks the movie over.
I think it's kind of a really unengaging movie. I find.
Also, it hasn't really aged very well. Most of the effects in it are pretty terrible.
They look okay because a lot of these Star Trek movies are kind of mid-budget movies. They don't look too bad. It's never like. But it hasn't aged particularly gracefully, I guess.
We must stabilize the damping field.
And there's a myriad of like inconsistencies in it. The biggest one being like the invisible ship on the lake. There's videos on that on the internet. About
it's got a lot of kind of weird logistical problems. And, my favorite part is at the end. Spoiler alert. F. Murray Abraham and Picard are fighting or something because they have to have a dumb action sequence at the end where they're climbing around scaffolding and shooting at each other. And so there's a thing where the giant ship is exploding.
Yeah, the Picard activates the self-destruct.
Yeah, on the ship that's going to like harvest the energy or something. And so there's like it's like exploding, and then the Enterprise is like flying like
to save Picard.
And then they beam Picard out and leave F. Murray Abraham there. And F. Murray's like, oh, like fire. And like they roast him, and I was like, how did they know who that was? Like that could have just been a guy or like some dude who maybe had a change of heart and was helping them.
True.
And like, did F. Murray even really deserve to die for what he was trying to do?
Any normal episode, even if they did know he was like a horrible guy, they still would have saved his butt.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I was about to call him Jonathan Frakes. Riker didn't even know who he was.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But that's the thing of it's simple. This guy's the bad guy. These guys are the good guys. He's the bad guy. He dies at the end. And
it fails on that.
Yeah. Well, it's
simpleness that it has too.
Yeah. It's just to me. It's simple. It's kind of. It's just. Yeah. It's kind of wrong-headed, I think.
I mean, it's not a horrible movie. It just all around fails.
That's more like it.
But yeah, so that's this one. I don't like it.
No, it's not a good movie.
No, don't watch it.
It was alright.
It's alright. He thought it was alright. He gives it the resounding, but most positive review of it's alright.
It's alright.
It should go on the movie posters. So our next movie was Freddy vs. Jason, which this is my 4-pack of the second half. And there it is right there. You can't see it. I don't know why I pointed to it. Matt, would you like to give us a synopsis of Freddy vs. Jason?
Well, it's basically about Freddy. Nobody remembers him. He's got to go back so he can kill more teenagers for no real particular reason.
How sweet. Dark meat.
He gets Jason to do some dirty work for him so that everybody thinks it's him, and he comes back, and that's kind of it. Then they fight at the end, but as far as just plot-wise goes, that's the
not some plot to it.
Not really.
Okay.
It doesn't. I mean, why Jason? Why did it have to? I mean, I understand why it had to be Jason, but in terms of like, it doesn't make much sense because you would have seen it coming. Like that, Jason would just keep killing people, and then Freddy was like, "Oh no, I can't kill anybody."
At the end of Jason Goes to Hell, Freddy's glove comes out. So this Freddy versus Jason thing has been planned for quite some time.
This was a pretty epic development hell, I thought, for like a decade.
This
or
went
something,
through numerous scripts, not just script changes, scripts like false scripts.
One of them was going to have.
So this is like a Duke Nukem Forever sort of.
Yeah. One of them was going to have. I thought Pinhead from Hellraiser was going to be in one of them.
Possible.
Basically, New Line owns both Freddy and Jason, and they're pretty. I guess they're movies that had kind of similar trajectories to each other, so I do kind of lump them together. This movie, I mean, when you look at it, it's a movie. It's you just look at the box cover, look at the poster, whatever. It says Freddy on it. It says Jason on it. There's a big verses in between it.
This is a big VS.
It says VS, and you come into it with expectations, and I think it delivers on what
the expectations are met because you're looking for Freddy versus Jason, and there are plenty of examples of movies where you are promised something and you're like, this kind of fucking delivers because the fight between them is pretty dope.
It is sweet.
It's pretty sweet. So I think it pretty successfully does what it told you it was gonna do.
I think they do what they promise them.
Yeah, it's not.
They're not promising much.
They're not.
Just sometimes you want something like this. You don't want to have to watch. I mean, Citizen Kane every. You don't want to watch something on that. You don't want to watch something heavy all the time.
You can't.
It's not. Especially, it's not like a good movie, and it's considered pretty bad most of the time. But I'm actually kind of a sympathizer. I actually really enjoy it.
It was an enjoyable romp. This is my first time actually seeing it.
Yeah, I find it obscenely entertaining, to be totally honest. You come in to say something like Star Trek, and you expect sort of a intelligent sort of story, and Star Trek Insurrection doesn't deliver on that. You come into Freddy vs. Jason expecting something stupid.
And you get it.
And you get it. You expect, with the Freddy, with the Jason, with the verses, you think, okay, Freddy and Jason need to fight. There needs to be lots of blood. Some teenagers need to get killed in funny ways. And you need to have some boobies. It has all four.
You got all.
I mean, you also have Freddy being like a Sith Jedi Lord, like making Jason fly all over them.
You also got Kelly Rowland.
Yeah,
you do have Kelly Rowland is randomly in this movie.
I did not. When I looked at the title of this and saw Freddy versus Jason, I was not expecting Destiny's Child, but it delivered on that too.
It's not Destiny's Child.
It's Child.
Star Trek Insurrection does not have any former members of Destiny's Child.
None.
And I'm like, why?
Why? It could have at least had Michelle.
What if it had, one of them in it? It probably would have been better.
I think any movie can be made better with one of the former members of Destiny's Child.
Then it would be like, why are you being such a faggot, Picard? Because,
there is. That's the best part of the movie. This movie has Kelly Rowland calling Freddy Krueger a faggot.
Tell me something. What kind of faggot runs around in a Christmas sweater?
Not only does it
quoting, you're a faggot, Freddy Krueger. Basically. And it's amazing.
I'm sure we'll cut to a clip of that right now.
Faggot.
It's like the best thing that's ever happened in a movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're just like, why is Kelly Rowland calling Freddy Krueger
a faggot?
why
is she in this anyway?
Right.
Well, she's the most famous person in it.
She's the most famous person, and then second in their extra role, student at Locker, there's also Evangeline Lilly.
Evangeline Lilly is randomly in this movie in the background for a student at Locker. Yes.
Show that clip real quick.
Where am I?
What?
She's going to be in the background.
She's on screen.
She's on screen.
She's on screen. Show it. You can see
I'll
it.
just oh, God. Okay, but
anyway,
continue.
But
continue.
But like, I don't know, like, it's just fucking fun. It's fun.
I
And
do
you also,
really
like,
enjoy
as much as it is, like, a funny film, there are still, like, certain moments of it, like, you guys, and I agreed with this, like, the scene where it's Jason's dream, and he goes to that little, cabin in the middle of, like, a water-filled area, marsh area, and
Yeah.
that set is
Oh
amazing.
yeah, I
And
really
then-
like that set.
Yeah, like, you guys thought that was really good.
So it's got some genuinely cool kind of
There's
art
cool.
direction.
There's a part where Freddy kind of jumps out of the water at some point, and
really cool.
he's like really
shot.
pissed. So he has this weird, almost demonic makeup kind of thing going on, and like
This red lighting. All
yeah,
it's
he like
really
jumps
cool.
out of the water. and It looks really awesome. Like this to
Like,
me.
they didn't have to do that, but they had these really neat shots in it.
I think there's a lot throughout the entire movie, a lot of really vibrant filters, like color filters, all throughout it. That would give it this really, there's a lot of red in it, and then there's also, I really like when they're in that place, like Freddy and Jason are going at it for a little bit, and then it goes to that green.
I didn't understand why they did it, but it was interesting.
I just think it looks cool.
This movie, now one of the reasons I think you and I like the Nightmare series so much is that it's consistently, at least visually, interesting. And this movie is also fairly visually interesting, and I think I don't know which one of us said it, but kind of described it as sort of this almost dark, artistic art project of some kind. A lot of the movies are, because it's kind of like, oh, it's a TV smashing someo's head in, or like, oh, this guy's like being, his veins are marionette strings, or something that I think the Friday the 13th movies don't really have, because it's usually just Jason kind of like cutting a dude in half with a machete or whatever.
Yeah.
And this one I think has that kind of, because this one's kind of set up more like a Nightmare movie than a Friday movie, so it's got a lot of interesting visual stuff. This definitely isn't my favorite Nightmare movie, but is my favorite Friday the 13th movie. Because Friday the 13th is a pretty shitty series.
I was actually discussing, I was talking about this movie with Andrew recently, because I hadn't ever really thought about it, and one of the things I appreciate it now as well is, say, with something like AVP, with like this versus thing, in like AVP, the predators end up being they're like the good guys helping out the humans, whereas this, it maintains that both of them are the villains. Like it never becomes like sided on one.
I think it treats them both well. I think kind of the method of getting them together is interesting.
The story was, I mean, it didn't need like a big story, but the story was engaging.
It
made sense. I actually, a certain amount.
I think it.
There are holes and.
Oh
things,
yeah,
but
obviously, you're not coming to this for a cerebral plot.
No.
It's got what it needs. It doesn't have anything it doesn't need in it. It's a stupid.
I mean, the
fun.
whole like last 15 minutes fight between Jason and Freddy is amazing.
It was really great.
Oh, and then the first Jason kill is just beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, so our last movie was Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, which is very long. So
it made up probably about 45% of the total runtime of the entire.
It was almost the length of these two movies combined. So Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, is about at the beginning of time. A giant vagina made out of fire makes a ring.
For no apparent reason.
That's super powerful and magic, and then like a bajillion years later, a midget finds it, and then the midget and a weed smoking wizard.
Old Toby, the finest weed in the South Valley.
Yeah.
Go on a magic journey.
Well, I thought it was just the weed smoking wizard.
Well, yeah. Well, that's my theory later, but they're accompanied by 3 other midgets, and Coulter.
A militant midget.
Yeah, well actually there are like 5 midgets in this movie.
Yeah.
Sean Bean is there.
Oh, yeah.
And Viggo Mortensen randomly. So this movie. What do I? Yeah, this movie's good.
I mean, if you didn't know that already, there's something wrong with it.
It's good. Yeah, I think enough of it's been said about this movie being good, so I'm gonna say some negative things about it here for the first time ever. We watching it, so we've all obviously the 3 of us have
we've
seen the
seen
fucking
it
movie.
But seeing it again,
It was interesting. I've not watched this in about 6 years.
Yeah, it's been actually quite a while.
I've not seen this in a long time.
Yeah.
So
I've seen it like 100 times.
yeah, I've seen it like maybe this may be the 6th or 7th time I've watched this. I'm not super big into Tolkien. I do like these movies.
Yeah.
You could not get me to read those fucking Lord of the Rings books again. I know I'm gonna lose all my nerd cred for this, but they are just tedious slogs.
I don't like them.
No,
You're the only one that actually read them. I mean, fuck, I ain't doing that.
So, yeah. Okay. So first of all, hey, I'll go into my maybe more problems with Tolkien here in a little bit, and kind of the story. But let me do the movie first. Hey, some of the CGI is a little dated.
Yeah, we actually didn't know that. We went to it and then we kind of saw it a little bit.
Yeah, it's a great looking movie. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
it's
this is amazing.
It's probably one of the better looking movies ever made. It's got this great kind of mixture of kind of more traditional effects work in terms of dudes in costumes, sets. Somebody made sets, miniatures, real locations, whatever. That's all great. The CGI, I think, is blended pretty well into it, which is what you want to do with CGI usually.
Like the octopus thing.
It doesn't blend as well as say something like Jurassic Park does. But this is the first one. The other two I think look a fair amount better than this one. Because Gollum is just amazing. But yeah, that's fine. Like some kind of the Watcher looked a little weird. I think there were a couple other things where it was like, oh, that's CGI. Cave Troll looked a little strange to me. Yeah, a little bit. I could tell it was CGI. And
Again, the Balrog actually looked really well. Again, because it was probably so... I don't remember the word you used.
Nondescript.
Yeah.
It didn't have a ton of features to it. It was kind of this big black mass.
But it looks fucking cool.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was something that where I was like, my brain said that's CGI, so I was it was thinking about it. I wasn't like,
right.
But, okay, it's too long. That would be my other main problem with it. I mean, I know it's big and it's Lord of the Rings. Oh, you could have done this in 2 hours. I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, we kind of figured that out.
Yeah.
I mean,
the movie would have been better in 2 hours. Sorry, nerds.
My main beef with it, I never realized it until this watch of it, was there's no real like penalty. There's no stakes because at the beginning you see what's Alandite or what is his name?
He's Alandite.
Yeah.
Isn't that's the Black Knight's sword?
That's the Black Knight's sword.
His name's Sauron.
No, the guy who
Isildur?
A Isildur. There you go.
Alandite.
A Isildur cuts off Sauron's fingers, and then the ring falls off, and Sauron just like disappears. And then like what? The ring didn't do anything. Like it didn't.
Well, it did give him, as you said, it gave him the Halo gravity hammer.
Yeah, because like you guys were saying, like, why is it so important he gets back? They beat him while he had it. Why? How could it be that powerful?
And then like the important thing was like to save people's lives. So many people, if you go through the course of these movies, they die anyway. There's a bunch of fights.
Well, it's okay. So it's like, so Sauron has the ring, which we're never really told what exactly it does. He has the Halo gravity hammer.
Yes.
And it was all like boom, boom.
And it's pretty cool.
Yeah, but like, what's the difference? Because like, okay, he has the ring, and then he has gravity hammer, he doesn't have the ring, and he's the aforementioned giant fire vagina, but like.
Because with the gravity hammer,
beat-
he's really only taken out maybe an extra 5 guys every few minutes.
Yeah.
You know, like...
Because like he said, they beat him with it on. Right. And then so you're like, oh, well, maybe it kind of, because he had the ring, it escalated to that point. But it escalates to that anyways over the course of the movies with them trying to destroy it. Because they have Helm's Deep where shit tons of people die, Minas Tirith where shit tons of people die. So it's like, I don't understand really what the stakes are.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? Can't they just, once he gets the ring back, can't they just go cut his fingers off again? I mean, it seemed pretty easy. You just go, ugh, and then he goes,
oh, my fingers.
Like
that was
fingers.
Like
my fingers.
That was a theme because Jason, you cut his fingers off. He couldn't use his machete. And when I saw this, I was like, why didn't you just cut his? Why didn't anybody think of that before? And then again, like with this movie,
Does anybody get their fingers cut off in Insurrection?
Is this? Are we trying to find finger mutilation as a common theme?
I don't think that happens.
No, I don't think it's like none of the
What is the common theme between these three movies? I'm having like
that's
hard
tough.
time.
This was actually probably the most random
I think it
selection.
might be the most
because the
random.
first one was pretty random because of All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Right.
But this one is like each one is vastly different. It's just they're all 3 different genres even.
Yeah, you got sci-fi, fantasy, and horror.
Right.
So it's gonna be hard to find a common.
So this one is about people getting young again.
Yeah.
Beloved characters acting like dickheads.
There's spaceships.
F. Murray Abram being a mummy.
Yeah, mummy aliens.
Mummy aliens.
Weird fucking Riker.
Riker for shaves his beard, which is just wrong.
Bridge to Riker.
Can I get back to you, Mr. Worf?
Oh no, that's a form of self-mutilation.
Riker shaving his beard is
He's
self-mutilation.
a Ken getting his fingers.
It is just a part of his face.
But that's pretty he lost all of his power, just like the other 2 when you cut your fingers off. Anyway.
What the fuck?
Technically, he doesn't shave it off either.
Yeah, that's true. So it isn't
So
self-mutilation.
it's not self-mutilation. So
It's mutilation
in all
by
3
a-
movies, there's mutilation involuntary. Not necessarily involuntary.
Well, Riker was sitting in the
didn't
tub
wanna
with a
shave
naked
it.
woman.
He didn't want to shave.
He
it.
probably would have
candles.
let her done whatever she fucking wanted.
This was like the Samson story.
Yeah.
Like that was all the source of his power. I think that's what the directors.
Somebody
were going
actually get
for.
their fingers chopped off with this? Like, I'm trying to think.
in Insurrection.
Did the guy get his face?
Everybody gets just blasted with a little phaser.
The guy got face lifted to death.
That's true.
He got mutilated.
Every single one, deals with somebody losing power.
Yeah. It can be said for like every movie ever, but
Not necessarily. Well, how does Freddy versus Jason? Well,
Because
Freddy
has lost his power.
Freddy has lost his power.
so did Jason.
Because Jason was dead at the beginning of this and somehow came back to life like he always does.
Yeah.
And then Fellowship, Sauron lost the ring, and Riker lost his beard.
Riker lost his beard. You could also say that the mummies, for spoiler alert, were people that were banished from the planet.
Right.
They had lost the power of immortality and were trying to get it back. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's people attempting to regain lost power.
You know what's funny?
Someone dies at the very end of every single one of these too.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in any other movies.
I think that theme of like attempting to get power back or something is actually pretty legitimate across the board for these 3,
think it
and
is.
is the most legitimate common theme we found in any of these so
Yeah.
which is interesting because they're all so vastly different.
We had to reach a good bit, but we actually found.
But I think we actually found a legitimate kind
That's
of
a
common
legitimate
theme.
thread between these 3 movies. That's
It
really
is.
weird. Sean, if you want to do the initial honors,
the initial, as in.
the first, what would you say? Let's start the discussion. Best to worst.
I mean, I'm pretty sure
one's
this is
pretty easy.
yeah.
Yeah, this one's pretty easy.
Obviously, Insurrection's at the bottom.
At the top.
That's bottom. Now you got. I will. Okay, this is the order. Obviously, for me, this is just an all-around better movie. It's just a great experience, a good adventure, a good story. Now, as much as we talked about Freddy vs. Jason delivering on with the promise that you get from the title, this did as well. In fact, as we discussed, we feel, pretty much all of us unanimously feel this did a better job than Tolkien's books at describing.
Yeah, I do think the Peter Jackson films are better than the Tolkien books. Yeah,
at describing Peter Tolkien's own work.
Peter Tolkien
or whatever
whoever the fuck these people are.
I don't know what the guy's first name is. J.
J.R.R.
Yeah, but what's his J?
Jack
Reacher.
Reacher.
Jack Reacher Robinson.
Anyway.
Tolkien.
So anyway, in that sense, I mean, if you're gonna it delivers even better than what you would expect from the title. Like if
That's true.
Like
Yeah,
before
that's a
going
good
into
point.
this, but like right when it came out, you're going into expecting the book. This delivers a better experience.
I'm sure there are going to be just threads of people on the internet very much disagreeing.
I don't see what kind of leg they have to stand on.
I don't know.
Well, because say I read Fellowship of the Ring, I would come into this movie expecting a 12-hour slog. It's not.
It's
a 3 hours mild slog,
right?
With some good, because we were talking about Peter Jackson took these pretty slow moving.
Because I agree.
Books and he made them into action films, and I think that worked and was really good. And I think this is a good example of someone really liking source material, but understanding that it wouldn't work on film and changing it for the better. I think.
I will say this: for me, coming into this 3-movie marathon, I actually had the most fun watching Freddy vs. Jason out of the 3. And that sounds kind of strange, but I mean, maybe this is just because this is the only one I hadn't seen out of the 3 of them, so it was just a new, fresh experience. But honestly, even I don't know about you guys, because you guys have seen all 3 of these before. What would you say? Would you say it was more fun watching?
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say when it got to me and I ranked them or whatever.
Which I'll give them to you because I'm done now. So.
Right. I was actually going to say same ranking, Fellowship, Freddy, and then Insurrection. I was gonna say I'm probably gonna get some hate, but I think I actually enjoy Freddy vs. Jason more. Than...
Okay, you can like Lord of the Rings as much as you want. Yeah. I really like the movies.
Yeah.
I think we all really like the movies.
Yes.
Not a ton, not a barrel of laughs. I'm not sitting there going, woo, woo.
This is no roller coaster.
It's not a roller coaster.
But that's not
fun.
What it's for.
No, and not every movie has to be fun conventionally. I don't have a ton of fun watching Lord of the Rings. Yeah. Freddy vs. Jason is shit tons of fun.
It is.
It's more. Of course, it's more fun. I mean, the movie ain't fucking fun. It's a bunch of people dressed in weird clothes. Going.
Sean Bean dying.
Sean Bean getting shot with arrows.
It's sad.
It's sad.
It's pretty depressing.
It is.
Boromir dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, Freddy vs. Jason is just more fun to watch.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there are other things to consider besides just it being fun. And on just a pure technical scale, obviously, Fellowship of the Ring just blows it out of the water. But I don't think Freddy vs. Jason wants to be competing with Fellowship of the Ring.
It's not like all up on its territory. Or anything.
No, it's not like it. Like I said, it doesn't aspire to be anything else than what it needs to be. It's got exactly what it needs. Nothing it doesn't.
It's a very self-aware movie.
I think it is. Yeah. So
I will say for Insurrection, Picard dance kind of gives it a lot of points for me.
That's more like it.
Picard dance is sweet.
That is the moment the whole story of the film becomes aware to Picard.
It's a huge moment because Picard does Picard dance
like for 2 seconds.
And the Picard is like, "What the fuck am I doing?" And like the whole plot bursts wide open. Yeah. It's weird.
That's the only part of the real Picard you see, because it's the like cerebral side of him, and then he like figures out the entire plot of the movie before it happens.
because he
Yeah.
did the mambo.
So that's an interesting moment. I'll have to say. Nice to bring that up, man.
Okay, so this one's on top. I got some problems with this. You kind of talk about Tolkien. I find Tolkien kind of simplistic, I guess. All the good guys are like these kind of stubbled, macho dudes, you know,
Perfect chiseled men.
like chins and long greasy hair, and they're all like and shit. And then all the bad guys are these like hunchbacked, you know, like
Don't talk.
don't talk. They're all all ugly and shit, and live in the mud. And I've never been super engrossed, I guess, in Middle Earth. I just find it kind of white bread and whatever. I mean, I think it's a fairly interesting. It's very in depth. I've just never been that into it. I'm more of kind of a Conan guy myself. I don't know. To me, you're either a Conan guy or a Lord of the Rings dude. I kind of like. I guess I like my stuff a little bit more real and gritty, and where the characters aren't either super good and perfect or again hunchback dicks. But again, aside, I think this is really legitimately one of the better effects films ever made.
Yeah.
It's really good, and it looks great even today. And this movie's like 13 years old now, and that makes me feel fucking ancient. So I'm also gonna put this one on the top. You go on the table. So I will also probably agree that this is better than this, but I kind of wanted to discuss this a little bit, because I would say, I don't know if most people would disagree with us. I think the critical consensus would be that this would be better.
Oh yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Wait,
because
what?
like I said, critically, that's actually considered good. Like,
what's the Rotten Tomatoes on this? Do you remember?
Metacritic is 64
and
37.
Why?
What? Yeah. Well, that's what I'm wondering.
Like, I'm presuming the Metacritic and Rotten Tomato people are people that like films or something, you know?
Well, Metacritic.
And they understand
Rotten
what
Tomatoes
each
and
film
Metacritic
represents.
is a combination of reviews, and it's based on like positive review. I think
that was a
Metacritic
bit
is
of a joke though, because I know the Rotten Tomato people. Like it's a film community.
Right. Yeah.
So they would probably be able to understand what movies are meant for what purpose.
Right.
believe-
I don't know.
I believe that.
I didn't actually read a review. I just looked at the score on Metacritic.
Because I think what was it last week? We put say Highlander above, Spike Love.
Yeah.
Which I think would also be
Except
weird.
for Dennis.
Well, yeah. But why is it that we consistently come to these majority decisions?
I don't know.
Like what?
Well, I mean, it seems apparent. Like, and
Why does somebody like this movie more than this one? I don't really get it.
I don't either.
Because this movie's shit tons of fun.
Yeah.
Does everybody have a stick up their ass? Do they hate fun?
And again, it's fun because you can have fun and have a very obviously shitty movie, but I don't even think it's a very shitty movie.
I'm never really totally laughing at the movie.
No.
I feel like the movie's in on the joke and kind of like understands what I want as someone who's coming into the movie.
Because again, as we discussed, there's not very much. There's not much plot, but what is there? It's fine, I think, honestly.
And my biggest thing is, like, it's obviously self-aware, and a lot of horror movies do that, but all the Star Trek Next Generation episodes were self-aware of what the show was. This movie is not self-aware of what Star Trek The Next Generation is.
It seems
That's
to
my
not.
huge problem with it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it kind of doesn't really get.
It doesn't understand.
Yeah, it's sort of like it doesn't really understand what it's. I think it's kind of trying to cram something more cerebral into sort of a dumb crowd pleaser action film. I just don't think, even without kind of the aggravating character stuff, I think it's pretty mediocre even without that. It's just not super engaging. I don't know. I don't get it.
Because at best, if it had done the best it could, it still would have just felt more like an episode of The Next Generation. Because there wasn't any sort of big exposition.
That's a good point. I think that's something a lot of people bring up, is it feels like a two-parter of Next Gen or something rather than an actual movie. Like, it doesn't feel like a very big deal. It's not super high stakes. It's kind of a thing.
Also, the reason why that movie's at the very bottom of the list why like this whole discussion we wrapped up is in one thing. Data is a flotation device.
In the event of a water landing, I have been designed to serve as a flotation device.
I mean, this is obviously it's a unanimous decision.
You need to change your opinions.
You need to change your opinions because here's the correct opinion: Fellowship of the Ring, Freddy versus Jason, Star Trek Insurrection.
Because like there is no actual argument for
Everything.
If you make one, you're just making it up.
I'll end with this. Fuck you, Star Trek Insurrection.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
I was here the whole time. I saw everything. So, in my personal opinion, the movies that I felt were the winners of the day. Freddy vs. Jason. This is political suicide. Fellowship of the Ring. And Star Trek Insurrection.